Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Pisgah Podcast.
Thank you all for listening to Pisgah. Again, we're your hosts. I'm Drew, that's Mangler, and we're coming to you live from the gas line at Hyder's Country Cupboard.
And I'm going to get my 10 gallons of gas and get on back up the mountain.
Don't forget to fill up your plastic bags.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know what? I think we've got a great episode for you guys this week, and it's another double feature episode.
Yeah, that's right. Back to our original episode plan. So I caught up with Cane Creek this past weekend, and we also have Brevard's shreddiest real estate agent on later. But Drew, first, let's talk about our feelings. How are you doing with the shoulder rehab/repair?
Man, pretty good. I'm coming into, I guess this weekend's going to make 4 weeks. So next week I can dabble with my strength and range of motion a little bit more. And, you know, honestly, I feel like I could physically ride a bike right now. I'm just not sure that I could take another impact yet.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that you're making some progress, but I'm sure it's a test of patience. You know, feeling like you can ride, but having to make that adult decision and not push it too hard.
Yeah, for sure. What about you? Did you ride anything this week?
Well, I got my second COVID shot on Saturday, and like clockwork, 6 hours later, it knocked me down for almost exactly 24 hours. But in that 6 hour window, I feel like I got a lot done bike and podcast wise. So I went out to Canoga to meet up with the Cane Creek squad to record a little segment. And then I did a couple of laps before that Moderna took me down.
So did you by chance get to taste any of the new updates on Upper Hemlock?
I made a beeline straight for it, my friend. I'm pretty psyched on the new updates. You know, I'm not going to spoil anything too much, but they've beefed it up, made things a little saucier and a little bigger. So when it does open up, maybe do the old pre-ride, re-ride, free-ride approach, but it's good.
Cool, yeah. So once my new bike arrives and my shoulder gives me permission, I can't wait to check that out.
Yeah, it should be ridden in real good by then. And to get back to my original quest for a Canoga visit, I stopped by the Cane Creek van that was conveniently parked at the bottom to see what they had going on with their test and tune event. Awesome.
Man, it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so great to see such smiling faces and friends and people out riding together. It's great. Yeah. So this is the part of the Cane Creek tour, and we're doing one of our events called the Test and Tune, where we're set up here at the base of the hill, and we're helping riders tune their suspension and talk through any questions they might have.
There's something about pulling up to a bike park and seeing a logoed out tall van at the bottom of the hill. You know something cool is going on, and that's exactly what Cane Creek is looking to accomplish with their test and tune events.
So like on the high speed bumps and like big hard impacts on the high speed, I feel like it's packing a little too much for like my comfort. So where would I change the high speed? Like would I?
Was it high speed rebound or low speed rebound? To not make it pack so much.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's interesting on your shock is that we also opened up your compression. Remember? So your high-speed compression is essentially because, when we were looking at the different tune that you guys developed, we left that compression side where it was. So we went it back. Your rear shock could potentially be moving too quickly.
Yep, it's getting up in there and it's kind of staying there because there's no compression on it.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So add some compression.
Okay.
The idea is simple. Set up at the bottom of the hill at Canoga Bike Park. Ask questions to a Cane Creek employee. They'll make suggestions on a setup change to your suspension. Go do a lap and see how those adjustments have improved your ride.
Well, the nice thing about Ride Canoga is that it's a real dedicated bike park, and so there's dedicated trails to riding, and the level of progression that riders can achieve here is unmatched. When you're trying to really go fast, find some race speed potentially for some riders out there, not have to worry about equestrians or hikers or other trail users. So it's a great place for all of us cyclists to come and ride and tune your suspension, try something out, repeat the trail you just did with that different tune, change something else and be able to repeat. That's where, trial and error and educating yourself and learning about what your bike is doing, what you're doing, how body positioning and tire pressure, all of this stuff can affect how you're going to perform and how your bike's going to perform on the trail.
For the last year or so, obviously there's not been any events or programs like this happening. So it's got to have a lot of excitement going on for everyone on both sides of the event tape.
It's like a giant family reunion. When you go to the events, you get to see all your friends who you haven't seen in so long, and new faces, new bikes, new trails, that are being built up. So that's just fantastic for us. And then as well as we have so many new riders that are just getting into the sport, that are just learning about, how great a bicycle can make your life. It's crazy, the little thing, who would have thought that a bicycle can have such an impact on an individual's, outlook or opportunity. I mean, that's where I came from. So not only are we doing these test and tune events at a couple of select locations in the Western North Carolina, Southeast region, but we have our Cane Creek Cup cross country mountain bike series going on right now, where we're having a really great turnout, and of course we're doing taking a lot of steps to keep people socially distanced, and have different start times and practice times and all of that's going on. And we're out there supporting the local scene and talking with the dealers there and talking with local riders and helping out with a lot of putting on those events and giving people a place to go and ride and race. Hi guys.
Thanks guys, y'all have a nice day.
You too. So that was just a great group that passed by earlier in the day. We helped them. They didn't have any Cane Creek suspension on their bikes, but they're relatively new to riding, and I noticed that they're so much sag on the front fork, and I could imagine what it's like to be riding at close to the end of your travel on your front fork coming down, like Hemlock or Painted Black or something here, where it's like, wow, yeah, right, all right, let me help you out for safety, and so, but that spawned a conversation where now all of a sudden we're talking, outside the product and it's just about riding, we're just talking about the trail and positioning and what's going on. So it's really cool to experience and interact and engage with riders, and it's like we've been doing this our whole lives anyway, going to races growing up, and it's cool to be able to give back. So.
And XC racing, that's cool. It's that time of year, right? We got the Cirque Series, we've got the Cane Creek Cup, and if we go back to our first episode where Callie mentions that she wished there were more XC races, well, here you go, Callie.
Yeah, XC racing has definitely hit off with a bang this year.
Yeah, maybe it's just that we're so used to no events happening from the COVID year that now that events are happening, maybe it's just everyone's going full in on them.
I don't blame them. It is cool to see all this momentum building up for race seasons. The NICA leagues in North Carolina currently do not have any races on the calendar, but in some discussions I've had with the Henderson Hellbenders, they're doing their own team events around the area, which has been cool to see on their social media platforms.
Yeah, no matter what, it's cool to see kids getting stoked on bikes, really.
And the best way to get kids stoked on bikes is when their parents are a shredder, which brings us to this week's interview guest, Brevard's shreddiest real estate agent, Bernadette Merriman.
Well, Bernadette, thank you for welcoming me into your home.
Well, glad you came.
Yeah. You've got kind of a lot of stuff going on here in the Brevard area.
I guess I've lived here for 20 years, so I know a lot of folks and have been mountain biking for a little while, so have a good community in that realm as well as the community at large. So just kind of one of the regular faces you see in the area, friendly.
What brought you to Brevard?
That's a little long story. The Chattooga River. It's the border for South Carolina and Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I packed up my bag a week after graduating high school and got a job as a raft guide. And I did not think I was going to go to college because I would have gotten lost in a university. I was like, I can't do that. It's not my scene. And then I found Brevard and Brevard College and immediately fell in love with it and ended up working full time and going to school here so I could live in Brevard. And I joke with people and I say Detroit, Pisgah, because I'm from the Detroit area originally. So Pisgah 1.
Yeah. And some of your family eventually came down here, right?
I've lived in Brevard for 8 years at that point, and I had just had Grayson. She was about 6 months old when my mom and my siblings and my stepdad followed about a year later, but they moved down here just kind of as a fresh start. And I think, I'd like to think because I had Grayson as well, might be a little reason why.
Mm-hmm. So, like you said, Detroit or Pisgah.
Exactly. I mean, my family loves the area now too, that they've been here for 8 years, and my mom goes hiking and they love the area just as much as I do. There's a big reason why they came down as well.
What was it that you originally started going to school for at Brevard College?
I have a business degree, actually.
Really?
I do.
And you also have a dental hygienist degree?
No, not a dental hygiene, dental assisting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember you going to like dental school.
The end goal was hygiene, but it was really hard to go to school and work part-time and be a single mom.
Yeah.
I struggled there for a little bit.
And then you decided to go and get your license for real estate.
Well, again, being Brevard, and it's a small community, Paul Willander, he actually approached me and was like, I think you'd be a great fit. I think you'd be good at this. And I don't think I would have gotten into it without him, saying something like that. And he actually put me through school. And I work for Looking Glass, which he started, and I've been doing it for about 6 years, and I love it. It's a great fit.
Yeah, it seems like you kind of like fell into it, and with your connections that you have, and knowing the community as well as you do, I feel like it's kind of like a shoe-in for you.
Yeah, it's been a great fit.
Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to buy a house with you, although we've tried a couple of times.
We have tried.
Things just don't work out for one reason or another. But you got my girlfriend her house, and plenty of other of our friends their houses. So
Jessica was my very first
was she
client
really?
ever. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. And it's always hard to tell somebody like you're my first client, but her house was a dream. Really, the whole process was very flawless, and I was like, I don't think this is how it's going to be the rest of the time, and it certainly wasn't. But her house went so smoothly, that transaction.
Well, it was good because that was like a learning process for both of you, I guess.
Absolutely.
Well, sweet. You came down here to hopefully play in the rivers for the rest of your life, and you honestly, before now, I didn't know that was like a thing in your life.
Yeah.
I've just always known you as like Shreddy Bernadette.
That's funny.
So when did you kind of pick up a mountain bike, and how'd that first start?
When I moved to Brevard, I worked at High Rocks, teaching like canoeing and kayaking actually, and because I learned how to kayak on the Chattooga, and I lived in Brevard probably for 6 years before I ever got on a bike.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I used to be a big trail runner. I ran for Brevard College for a semester to try it out and fell in love with it. But I think I had some girlfriends that Anna Ripley, and I don't know who else it was that day. There was about 6 women, though, that we just rode up Clawhammer and went down Buckhorn. And I borrowed a neighbor's bike. It was a size small, so it was so small that I had to like stand up and pedal going up Buckhorn, and I was dying. It had caged feet.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And I just remember getting to the steps on Buckhorn, and I tried it 3 or 4 times until I cleared the whole thing, like my very first ride. And a week later, I went to Sycamore and bought a bike.
Do you remember what your first bike was?
I do. I actually bought a used bike from Charisma Arbogast, and it was a specialized women-specific stump jumper.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forget they had that women specific stumpy line.
Yeah, it was cherry red.
Oh.
Yeah, and there's a running joke because she had the bike for 6 months and then actually got pregnant. And I bought the bike from her, and I had it for 6 months, and I got pregnant.
It's the pregnant bike.
So the girl I sold it to, she went to Warren Wilson College. I joked around with her. I was like, "Be careful with this bike."
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
It is funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a coincidence, but a funny one.
And so, 6 months after you got this bike, you went down the road of motherhood. And how was it coming back, after that process to getting back on a bike?
I actually, it took me a while to get back on a bike. I would run out my door at like 6 a.m. with a bunch of women from town for a while. It took me about a year, maybe 18 months to get back on the bike, just because of convenience and a little one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My mom would watch Grayson, and we'd be able to sneak out for a ride every now and then, which was super nice, but kind of actually getting back on it took a while. There was a race that Yuri put on a long time ago out of DuPont. It was like an 18-mile adventure race, and this was like well before they had fixed Ridgeline, and even Hooker used to just be like super steep, like this terrible climb, and not as fun as it was now, but it was a really fun reason to get back on the bike and kind of get going again.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
So you're a mother with a beautiful growing daughter who, in my opinion, is becoming a little shredder.
Yeah. It's been fun to watch. She's been around bikes her entire life, and it's not the only thing she likes, but it's been a really fun part of her actually getting to enjoy them. I don't ever force her to ride per se. I mean, besides being a 13-year-old now and trying to get out the doors can be a little cumbersome. She doesn't really like to, but once you're out, she's like, "Man, thank you so much."
Awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want every kid from the age of whenever to, their growing ages around 4 to 6 to learn how to ride a bike. That's the good age to really get them on a bike. How was it getting her going on a bike? And then how was it keeping her stoke level on bike riding?
So I actually didn't teach her how to ride a bike.
Bernadette.
Well, she had a strider, which we would use daily, or I'd go for a walk or a run, and she would stride. But actually, Tim Kerper taught her how to ride a bike.
Really?
Yes.
That is awesome.
When she was, I think, 3 or 4.
Okay.
And without pedals and that sort of thing, or trainers. And we had a tag-along bike that she loved. We moved to a push pedal bike when she was on her own in DuPont, because mountain bikes for kids at that point wasn't, I don't know, you couldn't find a good one.
Yeah, the sizing was weird and stuff like that.
Yeah. We were able to get a 20-inch Scott was her very first bike with actual brakes and little shocks. It was a heavy bike, but she still loved getting on it, which was nice.
Nice. I mean, it sounds like she kind of grew up while advancing on trails.
I got a little pointer from Noel Care to use a bungee cord. And I would put it on my seat post, and I would put it around her handlebar.
Okay.
And I would pull her up.
Like Jim Branch or something?
Yes, exactly, Jim Branch. And there'd be tricky spots where she'd be like, Mom, wait.
And you're just boing, just launching her up.
Oh man, yeah. We had some trial and error, and it was always best to go with somebody else who could be like, "All right, stop, Bernadette," and then I don't know. It worked out. It did what it needed to do.
So as Grayson got older, how did she progress with her interest in bike riding?
I think because she saw myself and other, I mean, it's like what I do in my spare time, you know, it's who I surround myself with besides like when I work are other people who love to ride. So Grayson was around it a lot.
Yeah.
And I think also the growing number of women riding really has actually helped. And I mean, because Grayson's a girl, I don't know if that has helped, but I think because my friends can actually tell her, hey, you should try this, you should try this, versus a mom telling her that.
Yeah.
She's really like welcomed that advice from other people a whole lot more. And so I think when we ride with other people, it's kind of just influenced her to keep with it or try something different. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Who are some of your closest friends that you guys ride bikes with?
Well, definitely Megan Hutton and her son, Micah. They've been a constant for a long time. I mean, I think both the kids have known each other since they were 3 or 4.
Okay.
A lot of times actually going to like Colo Bike Park. Grayson loves to dirt jump. She'd actually probably prefer to dirt jump over a trail ride.
Really?
Yeah. But it's been like people like Becky Bastion or Katie or Marta who give her pointers where she's like, okay, I see you.
I mean, honestly, those are some of the best women to give her pointers.
Yeah.
You know, coming from, you know, you mentioned those names. I mean, those are great names of people for her to look up to. I mean, you've got Becky doing backflips into lake jumps and stuff like that.
Yeah, there are a lot of amazing people around here, men and women. I think that's why she's enjoyed it so much too, because people, at least here, are super welcoming. I feel like we got a secret sweet spot here just because the people are really welcoming and you could walk up to anything and people would be like, yeah, come on, get on, try it.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Obviously, her growing up, she's had other interests, but do you feel like bikes have been pretty constant with her?
They've been kind of a staple for us. Definitely. I know during COVID, it was a nice way to, especially when a lot of things were closed, we could ride from our house and go for a bike ride.
Yeah.
Literally from our house and go just hit the Front Range trails and come home. And she was like, it was a way to get out of the house and like a nice way to connect with her. So it saved us kind of at the beginning there. It was really nice to have. She's gotten into climbing.
Oh, okay.
A lot recently, and it has actually not been riding as much because she's kind of stoked on something new, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's good for her to have that base of mountain biking skill because, you know, it's good to have, you know, that knowledge going forward in life. And with climbing, it can potentially unlock new climbing zones or whatever in the future for her.
Yeah.
Has she mostly been doing like climbing gym stuff or out in the wild?
We haven't been out to the wild yet. She has been on the rock climbing team at the Riveter.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And they do some really great stuff there for the kids. I mean, as far as like learning progression, it's a really nice setup. She's doing like lead climbing and lead belaying and things that...
I mean, I don't even know how to do that stuff.
Either do I.
So I was about to say, like, do you dabble in climbing?
I will climb if somebody's leading, but yeah, I don't know how to lead belay or lead climb. I mean, that's totally intimidating. So I'm really stoked she's getting to learn it.
Yeah, it's something new for you guys to go try. I mean, like, it's going to be rad the first time you guys go to Looking Glass and your daughter leads you on that.
Yeah. And I mean, biking for her over the years has been something that she has made her feel really good and confident. I mean, we have like the Ladies All Ride that used to come to Brevard. And again, I would bring her and she would see the coaches and that sort of thing. And a lot of my friends are her friends and they would literally teach her how to do things there. And I think she got stoked up by those little gains.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's transitioning into climbing too. You know, she came home one day and she was like, it just makes me feel strong. You know,
Awesome.
you want to hear that from any kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of touched on this a second ago, but how was COVID for you guys with the shutdown and everything? Like 2020 was kind of rough on everybody, but I feel like people in this area, we kind of had an upper hand with, the access we have to national forest stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a saving grace to, one, be in town right near the bike path so we could just get on our bikes and go. We didn't even have to drive.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice, I don't know how to explain it. I feel really blessed through COVID because I got to spend more time with her. I luckily have a flexible job where I can work from home sometimes, or she could go with me. And I don't know, I think it was really enjoyable to actually have that extra time with her. Otherwise, she would be in school all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like time you'll never get back.
Mm-hmm. And she's kind of at that teenager years now where, it can be tough relationships for parents and their kids, but it kind of sounds like you guys have kind of like strengthened your relationship through outdoor activities and such.
Absolutely. When Grayson was younger, when we were getting close to the weekend, it was always like, all right, well, what are we doing this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Because there was the expectation of like, we're getting outside.
Yeah.
What's our adventure?
Mm-hmm.
So I really, really like that she's knows that's kind of part of the way we live our life.
Yeah.
And is cool with it.
Yeah. And it's cool with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is her friend circle like?
With COVID and everything, it was a little hard for kids,
Mm-hmm.
especially she's in middle school. So she didn't actually get to see a lot of kids in the beginning and for quite some time. But now she's friends with Micah,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple strong girls that like play soccer, also like to get outside at Brevard Middle School. I don't really know, like she's not at that age where it's definitive, but she has some really sweet, kind, girls that align with her. Or she aligns with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hopefully keep her out of trouble.
Yes. Yeah. She's a pretty straight and narrow kid.
Lucky for you.
Yeah, luckily. And she's got a good heart.
Mm-hmm.
She's...
One thing that has kind of impressed me with you guys' relationship is kind of the first time I saw that you were taking her to the women's weekend at Ray's Mountain Bike Park.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that, because that was really awesome to see you taking her up there for that.
So that's been our thing for like years now.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's gone like 6 or 7 times.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah. And it's like our yearly journey that we'd love to take.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's because Grayson learns best when other people are like telling her or instructing her. And she's met a lot of great women by going up there.
She's met all like the top pro women from going there.
Oh man, I know, it's crazy. Like Angie, like she looks forward to the trip yearly to see Angie alone. And her and Angie will be off riding laps around, and I just love that other people just kind of take your kid in openly.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, you're a little person. Like, let's do this.
Yeah, follow me. Let's drop in on this run.
Absolutely. She's learned more from all those badass women than I could ever teach her.
And that's great. And it's cool that that's the type of environment where, you and Grayson walk into Ray's and you check in, you slap some high fives and like, cool, let's go ride. And like, she may go somewhere else and you may go to another room or something.
Absolutely. In all honesty, Grayson's personality, she's probably knows some of these ladies like better than I do even, because she's just that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're over there like riding one room and then like you glance through and then you see like Angie Weston like go over a jump and then your daughter's right behind her. That's got to be really awesome to see.
Oh, it is. And all those women are like amazing influencers and like super kind, like very real people.
Yeah.
So.
They're probably just as stoked as you are seeing it as they are experiencing it with, this little 12, 13-year-old girl.
Yeah. I think that's what Angie does on the West Coast. She's a big influencer over there for adults and kids in the sport.
Yeah. So kind of what advice can you give to a parent that's got like the the preteen kid that, that they've been riding bikes with. Obviously, you don't want to soccer dad or soccer mom them to death, but you want to kind of point them down, that thing, so you guys can have something in common to enjoy.
Right. So my advice to another parent who has a preteen kid,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely don't force Grayson to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Except for homework and brush your teeth and stuff like that.
Right. Besides the necessary things, you're right. But I will say, like, hey, these are our options. Like, we're going to go out one way or another. And, I tell her too, like, I need this. This is for my mental sanity, and it's a great way that, like, I get to connect with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and oftentimes she'll be like, all right, let's go out for a ride.
Yeah.
Even if it's a small one.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe also making it fun, like we didn't go this past year because of COVID, and
Yeah.
Grayson was definitely still really nervous about it.
Mm-hmm.
But having something fun, like your yearly trip that you get to do yourselves. Like, it's always Grayson and I with some friends going
Yeah.
down there or up there. And I don't know, something like that is always nice to look forward to. I mean, I know a lot of really rad parents that come from like the Triangle area and come here to ride on the weekends with their kids because of places like Canuga. And I mean, it's like an easy place where you can go that as a family, you're not like riding a long trail,
Yeah.
but you could do laps and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be fun for everybody.
Yeah, Canuga's a good one because you can do like short laps, and then, when your kids get comfortable with, they build up their physical
Confidence.
fitness, their stamina, their confidence, then you can, maybe step up to like, going to do like a Jim Branch to Ridgeline or something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's Grayson's favorite zone to ride out here?
She had actually told me that she really likes Thrift Black, which surprised me.
Really?
Yes. And
I mean, honestly, that's not an easy climb.
no, it's not. But for some reason, she really likes that loop.
That's awesome.
It used to be DuPont. It used to be like Ridgeline Jim Branch to Ridgeline.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's kind of Front Range stuff.
Okay, so
Yeah.
she's graduating up a little bit.
Yeah. We've even done like Clawhammer and Buckhorn, and I'd like to get her on some bigger stuff.
Yeah.
But she is now she's half an inch taller than me. So we're riding the same size bike. And I just got another Rocky Mountain. So now we have like 2 full suspension bikes, and it will be more fun for her because,
She got a better bike.
yeah, and there for a little while, I mean, even if she was having fun, a heavy bike just sucked. So I put her on a hardtail for a while because it was nice and light, and she seemed to enjoy it. But when she tried my full suspension, she was like, I want to ride that one.
And you're like, oh,
And-
what did I do?
Yeah, and then I had to ride the hardtail.
So, talk about your representation with Rocky Mountain.
Well, I get to be an ambassador for Rocky Mountain. So now that COVID is over, I need to start doing some probably like a local ride or something with Sycamore. I need to talk to them about that, or jump on like even the Weevil Ladies Ride. That sort of thing would be really fun. And yeah, so I kind of am an ambassador. I just have to do some posting for them and kind of be the local person, I guess, to if we have demos and that sort of thing, help out with demos. And it's been kind of weird because when I joined, COVID hit. So we didn't get to do a lot of the things I think that normally happen when they come into town, or even group rides.
Yeah. Rocky just came out with a new bike.
Yes.
What's your current bike setup right now?
So are you talking about the new Altitude?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the new Altitude, and it is by far my most favorite bike that I've ever owned.
Okay.
My first Rocky Mountain was the Instinct, and I wanted to try something different, so I went with less travel.
I think a lot of people are going. I mean, I went that route.
Well, and I did a trip to Nepal with a bunch of women, and so we were doing a lot of miles every day, and I wanted something a little bit lighter and 29 wheels just for like, ease of rolling, that sort of thing. And it was nice to try something smaller, but now that this bike came out, it's a 170, 160 setup, and I was a little nervous. I was
Okay.
like, I don't know if I'm going to like this much travel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's great going downhill, but around here you got to earn your turns, right? So you climb sometimes for an
3
hour.
hours.
Yeah, 3 hours, exactly. But I'm super surprised. It climbs really, really well. Like I can spend all day on it and thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think their new bike too, the new version of the Instinct, is actually the same frame, but just a different fork and shock setup.
Okay. So same front triangle, different rear triangle and shock setup or something probably?
Yeah.
And you're running Industry 9 wheels?
I am running Industry 9 wheels. Yes. So Industry 9, I don't even know what to say about them. I love that company and I love the folks that run it and the folks that work there. They support people locally like 100-fold. You know, they're just wonderful people, and their product is amazing, obviously. The new wheel set that I have, you know, has like the Hydra,
Carbon, factory spokes, like all the fancy bits. And and most importantly, you were one of the creators of the Bluetooth hub loudness adjustment meter.
I don't know about the creator, but I got to do an April Fool's video for them, which was really funny with the dial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their product is amazing though. I had the stock wheels on my bike for just a little bit before I got my i9s, and as soon as you put those i9s on, you're like, wow, the initiation is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So as far as like customizing your bike, you know, you get a stock bike, do you change much stuff on it? Just throw some ions on it and have at it, or?
Actually, no, I like to put Cane Creek headsets on most of my bikes too.
I need a new headset. I need to hit them up.
Yeah, me too, actually. I didn't get it for this bike because I just spaced, but I need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're pretty active around here in the community, and if people want to buy a house or if people want to talk more about, you know, trying to get together with, you know, a ladies' rod or a kids' rod or something, what's the best way people can kind of reach out to you?
You could reach out to me. I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
Bernadette.
Okay.
Or by looking me up online.
Just Google me.
Yeah, Google me. No, I work at Looking Glass Realty, so I have my own like agent page on there with my contact information.
And a sweet video.
Yep, of our local trails. So I'm pretty easy to find, I think.
Yeah. If someone needs to find Bernadette, they can find you. Well, sweet. Anything else you feel like we should touch base on?
I think if you're a parent who is an outdoor active type of person, having kids is amazing and wonderful, and it doesn't have to change your lifestyle. I think you can just bring kids along to the things that you love and do, and I think you'll help shape them.
You know, a lot of some of the best ways to enjoy the outdoors is learning how to adapt. And when you have kids, I mean, I'm just speaking from the outside looking in, it just seems like you can still enjoy those things. You just have to adapt.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the perfect way to put it.
Well, awesome, Bernadette. Thank you for your time. Always appreciate hanging out with you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming here. I appreciate it too.
All right, cool. Now, I got to let you go so you can go sell a house.
Okay. Thanks.
Man, I'd take jumping tips from Angie Weston.
Yeah, or really any of our local lady shredders. I have to say that Grayson has quite the gang of positive and shreddy adult influencers in her life.
Yeah, it's awesome to be a product of the environment that you live in. Speaking of environment, how's it looking outside for the weather this week?
This weekend looks pretty banger. Looks like we have some rain showers creeping in late Sunday. So, you know, those weekend warriors definitely have some amazing rotting weather. And then, you know, there's some chances of showers early in the week, but then it looks like it's shaping up to be, you know, back warm again and mostly dry. And I think we may be out of the woods when it comes to frost advisories and stuff now. So it could be like full on summer.
Great, it's time for insects to hatch.
Oh, your favorite.
Yeah.
Well, that's a wrap on this week's episode. And as always, you can find us on social media. Just search Pisgah Podcast. And also, you can hit us up on Big Cartel. Just search Pisgah Podcast. We've got shirts for sale with $5 of each shirt going to Pisgah area Sorba.
And if you busted out the hardtail because it is XC season, then please go ahead and make sure you subscribe, share with your pals, and I hope you all have a great weekend.
And getting out the XC bike, what happens if we overfork it? Does that make it a down country bike then?
No, that's up country.